All right, guys, 16 years ago, Barry Alvarez dared to resurrect the dormant football program here at Madison, Wisconsin in Camp Randall Stadium. Today, his mission largely accomplished. He commands the sidelines for the final time at home as the program's head football coach.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain.
Alvarez doing it his distinctive way, and downstairs to Erin Andrews with Alvarez.
Thanks, Mark. Well, Coach, with everything surrounding your last home game, it's senior day. And oh, by the way, this has great significance in the Big Ten Conference. What are your emotions right now?
Well, it's all about the game and these seniors. I want this team to play well for the seniors and put our best game together.
How did you relay that message to your players in the locker room?
Well, it's not just today. It's about all week, and the emphasis has been on them. And it's the last time we'll play together as a team in this stadium, so want to play well.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
16 seniors playing their final home game here at Camp Randall Stadium. ESPN College Football presented by Nokia today. The Iowa Hawkeyes trying to snap out of a late game slump. The last couple of losses have come that way against number 19 Wisconsin at 5-2, still harboring outside hopes of sharing a piece of the Big Ten Conference title. We are set for the opening kickoff. Wisconsin winning the initial toss, deferring to the second half. Iowa choosing to receive. This is Taylor Meloff with the kick. And he booms it out of the back of the end zone. And that is where Drew Tate, the quarterback for the Hawkeyes, will start with the reins of this Hawkeye offense. Tate comes into this game completing 64% of his passes. He's thrown 13 touchdowns this year to go along with just 4 interceptions. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Hawkeyes from their own 20-yard line. Iowa coming off a very devastating late game loss last week in Evanston, Illinois against Northwestern. Single back formation. Albert Young is the lone back. Tate back to pass. Young out of the backfield. Brought down to the 23-yard line on a nice tackle by Dante Sanders. As we take a look at the Nivea for Men starting lineups, Albert Young, one of the top running backs in the conference this year. Young coming off a 202-yard rushing performance last week against Northwestern. Bush, Chandler, Grigsby, and Solomon accompany him at the skill positions. Up front on the offensive line, it's Gates, Jones, Ferentz, Elgin, and Yanda. 2nd down and 7. Young once again trying to line, and Young is brought down to the 25 by Nick Hayden. As we take a look at that defensive front for the Badgers, Hayden up there, who made the stop, along with Joe Monty, Mike Newkirk, and Matthew Shaughnessy, who has really established himself over the last 5 weeks. The linebackers, Zalewski, Sanders, and Lamar Watkins, a couple of seniors. And in the secondary, Brett Bell on the corner, along with Levon Rowan, Rogers, and Stelmacher, the safeties. 3rd down now, and about 4 to go for the Hawkeyes. Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman, Erin Andrews down in the field on this, the opening drive of the ball game. The pass is complete. The 1st down and then some to Ed Hinkle. And that is a very good sight for Hawkeye sore eyes collectively. Hinkle coming back after missing several weeks because of a broken arm. He picks up 15 on that one, Chris.
Yeah, that play accomplishes 2 things. One, it gets Ed Hinkle right back into the football game after missing last week. And the other thing they did was they matched Hinkle up on Levy, the true freshman linebacker. Levy had a shot to get him down, but Hinkle ran out of him. But both accomplishes 2 things. Most importantly, Ed Hinkle has his confidence coming off that broken arm.
A senior out of Erie, Pennsylvania, picks up the 1st down. It's 1st and 10. Albert Young running between the tackles down to the 49-yard line. Albert Young is a 5'10" sophomore. He has really faced a lot of adversity in his young career. Redshirted his freshman season because of a broken leg, and then 2 games into last year blew out his knee ligament, his ACL, and he was done for the season. But this year has come back. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards already.
You talk to Kirk Ferentz, and I don't think anybody's happier for Albert than Kirk is. And Albert's a good running back, an excellent running back.
On 2nd down and 7, this time the backs line up out of the eye. Run a little counter this time to Young. And Dante Sanders was the first one to get there. Hauls him down right at midfield. Sanders, the emotional beacon, bumping his gums as he often does, mostly in well-spirited way. Sanders, one of the 16 seniors, playing their final home game here at Camp Randall Stadium. And you can only imagine the emotion. Chris, you've been there. What's it like?
Well, it is emotional, and you want to be able to control those emotions and play what I like to call with controlled insanity. Now, he's over there pointing to himself. He's got to point to his teammates because blockers were kept off him so he can make the play.
3rd down and 6. Tate working out of the shotgun. They're going to flag this one dead.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 76, offense.
Dennis
That's a
Lipinski.
5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Herb Ferentz in his 7th year as the head coach at Iowa. A win today for them, and they become bowl eligible. That's a streak they want to keep alive.
You know, they lost a lot of close games this year, and interestingly enough, the teams that they won, only one of them, Northern Illinois, has a winning record.
Sets up a 3rd down and 11. It's been a season of near misses for the Hawkeyes. Tate steps up, fires incomplete. At the 45-yard line, once again intended for Ed Hinkle. But this time, the result different. They'll have to punt.
Mark, a huge start for Wisconsin's defense, who's struggled a little bit this year under Brett Bielema, with a soon-to-be head coach. But for them to come out and stop Iowa in the first series gives them a lot of confidence. There's Brett right there.
Macher into punt, standing at his own 35. Ball turns over, and Williams calling for the fair catch at the 17-yard line. And Barry Alvarez has done things in a distinctively Barry Alvarez way over the last 16 years.
Tyrone Moss hurt last week against Virginia Tech. Charlie Jones played very well in that game and doing the same against Wake Forest. Demon Deeks had a 3-0 lead. Jones going to rip off 19 down to the doorstep, and then he'll pay it off with a touchdown run. Hurricanes with a 7-3 lead on the road, getting deep in the first. And Maryland in overtime, a shootout over North Carolina. Terps 1 win away from bowl eligibility.
All right, Reese, 2nd down and 1 here, the 10th play of the Wisconsin drive. Calhoun is in deep back out of the eye. They give it to him. Brian Calhoun denied at the 1.5-yard line by Marcus Pascal. Chad Greenway also in the neighborhood to make the stop.
That's a nice job of Pascal coming up. And Greenway to be able to deny him from the goal line. Pascal showing strength, fighting off the block of the fullback, number 34, Bill Rentmeester. Now follow the fullback in the red zone or in the goal line area for Wisconsin. He will take you to where the ball is going to go.
And speaking of which, conspicuous by his absence still, a man from Scarsdale, regular fullback Matt Bernstein has been injured most of the year.
Follow that guy.
3rd down and 1. And the flag down on the near side of the field. They can get a 1st down without scoring a touchdown.
False start, number 89. That's a 5-yard lead. Remains 3rd down.
Joel Ellis, the backup tight end, the perpetrator on the penalty.
He's actually the 3rd tight end, which they'll use in their goal line offense. You don't get on the field much as a 3rd tight end. When you get on there, you don't want to do that. You want to hold on to it. Hold your water.
That's up a 3rd down and 6 now. Jonathan Orr, Brandon White out to the top of your screen. Down at the bottom, it's Brandon Williams.
Big size advantage out here with Orr. Big kid. Get up. Jump.
Stocco into the end zone. Incomplete. Owen Daniels had it knocked away by Merrick.
A perfect example of not giving up on the play, trusting your training, and not looking back at the quarterback and man coverage, playing the ball in the hands. Now, Stocco can give a little more height to this football. Watch Merrick right here. See, he's never looking back, so he doesn't lose sight. The hands go up, and he attacks his arms. That's a great defensive play of not quitting on it. Excellent job by Merrick. Stocco could throw that a little higher because there's about a 6-inch height advantage that he had.
Owen Daniels in the lineup after struggling with an injury, an ankle injury for most of the year. They're going to review that last play. Check that. It's just a timeout called by the Hawkeyes. On this, the 81st edition of Iowa and Wisconsin. And a day that is rife with emotion on both sides of the field. Iowa with a lot at stake too, but most of the attention focused on the head coach for the Wisconsin Badgers, Barry Alvarez. He was telling us yesterday that he came here as an assistant, actually was an assistant at Notre Dame, was used to winning all those football games and won 25 in a row. That first win that he got here at Wisconsin against Ball State, he still didn't think they were any good after that.
No, he thought they played terrible. But I like what he said in his opening press conference. One, it's a man that's coming in with confidence, saying, hey, buy your season tickets now. And like you said, Mark, quite prophetic in those statements. The other thing he said is you have to do it and build it by its foundation. And he's done that through great recruiting. He's done an excellent job, really remarkable.
Taylor Meloff, meanwhile, Chris, drills it through from 24 yards out to give the Badgers a 10-0 lead in a very quickly played first quarter, 47 seconds to go. And Barry Alvarez with 3. Will be built with Wisconsin kids. The feet and hands might have to come from somewhere else. And he's fit together all the right pieces.
Well, he did get Brian Calhoun, although originally going to Colorado. Local kid coming back home, which no doubt pleased Coach Alvarez to see that young man and that talent walk on campus.
It's interesting, after his first year, Chris said that there were 140 players here his first year. 50 of them left after that first training camp. Things have a way of working themselves out, don't they?
Well, I think you know, if you're a new coach, you come in, you want to establish that this is how it's going to be. And he told those kids that some of you will not be here because you're not going to like what happens. And they finally realized that their off-season conditioning wasn't a punishment, but it was training for a tough season to come.
Off with the kick. He has been very good at kicking it out of the end zone. This one, though, comes down at the 2. Albert Young right up the middle, and Young stopped up a little shy of the 20-yard line. ESPN College Football Encyclopedia, folks, the biggest reference guide ever published on the sport. You can read about profiles, records, stat leaders, and fight songs of all the schools, as well as box scores from every major bowl game ever played. Heisman vote breakdowns and a lot more available now wherever books are sold. My favorite part of that book, Chris, looking at the helmets, the older ones.
I thought it was that you can get a good lift in while you read it.
Some curls?
Yeah, that thing is big.
First down and 10 for the Hawkeyes. Shut out so far. Tate on the bootleg to Hinkle. And Hinkle brought down after a gain of about 5 by Roderick Rogers.
This is where Drew Tate can show his maturity. Remember, Kirk Ferentz did have a nice long talk with him, and Drew responded by being a mature leader and learning from his mistake when he threw the ball at Ohio State into the ground. Now, he's starting off a little bit slow, but this is where he can get the credibility of his teammates that, look, I'm not flustered. I'm going to go in there and do what I always do, play well.
Second down and 4. And off to Albert Young, and Young piled up at the 27-yard line. He'll set up a third down and about 2.5 to go for the Hawkeyes. And that's the end of the first quarter. Just 45 minutes to go for Barry Alvarez in his last appearance at home as the head coach. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, everyone. College football presented by Nokia. Wisconsin leading 10-0. This game brought to you in high definition by Phillips. Ominous clouds overhead on the banks of Lake Mendota and Lake Monona. In Madison, Wisconsin, a packed house at Camp Randall Stadium. Third down and 2 to start the second quarter. Iowa trailing by 10. Drew Tate keeps it on the bootleg. He can run a little bit, gets the first down to the 30-yard line, and at times this year, Wisconsin's defense, Chris, has struggled with mobile quarterbacks like Tate, like Bazinet.
Well, not only think Wisconsin, Mark, I think that is what you're seeing in college football. Every quarterback can run because it's the evolution of the spread offense, or sometimes I like to refer to it as a single wing. That's what it ends up being.
It's a glorified single wing.
And when you have a guy that can run the football, it puts a lot of pressure on defenses.
First down and 10 for the Hawkeyes. Ball just beyond the 30. Little jailbreak screen. Pass is complete at the 35 to Herb Grigsby. Grigsby tackled by Rogers. Kirk Ferentz, you mentioned, Chris, had a nice chat with Drew Tate after that Ohio State incident, and he brought him over to the sidelines and said, son, never let them see you sweat. Don't let the other team know that they've rattled your cage a little bit, because then they really have you.
And we've done 2 Iowa games since then, and I've seen the growth and maturity that Drew Tate needed to display.
Hand it off to Albert Young, and he slips and falls at the 34. Zalewski there just in case. Take a look at our Napa game track. Some of the cogent points of the game. Barry Alvarez in his final home appearance as head coach, looking for win number 117. And Joel Stelmacher said, Coach, I got your back, with the pick here to set up a touchdown that came from Stocco to Brandon Williams. This one play after Williams committed a costly holding penalty near the goal line. Attacked on a field goal after that, and it's 10-0 on 3rd down and 7 now. Iowa's Tate working out of the shotgun. Pass complete at the 43-yard line to Scott Chandler. And Chandler is near the first down marker. Dantes Sanders there to make the stop, and he gets the first down.
Scott Chandler has been a kid that's emerged late for Iowa. Since Ed Hinkle was hurt in Purdue, Scott Chandler became more part of the offense. He's a big target at 6'7", and Drew threw that ball where only Scott Chandler could get it, because with a 6'7" body, he was able to lay out and keep Dantes Sanders away from the football.
Well, Wisconsin, as we saw the graphic there, Chris, bucking the trend of Iowa outscoring its opponents early in the game. Tate going downtown, incomplete. But there's a flag down on the play right at the 35-yard line of the Badgers.
They're going to get safety Roderick Rogers for holding Grigsby. And this is what Iowa needs to do. In order to get Young off, they got to start stretching the field and throwing the ball down the field, because Wisconsin is daring them to throw it.
The official's microphone having some technical difficulties, but needless to say, that was against the Badgers.
You're going to see Roderick Rogers right here. He's going to get a good grab on Grigsby. See, right there, he hooked him with his left arm. That's a good call by the official. A lot of times officials won't see that away from the football, but he did the hook. He's got to trust his training, stay in his back pedal until he's threatened. He doesn't have to hook him.
Well, after 1 quarter of play, you can say with confidence this Wisconsin defense showing no ill effects from that Penn State game, because you look at what they've surrendered in the last 5 games. They've given up some 530 yards per. A good first quarter for Brett Bielema's defense. 1st down and 10 for Iowa from the Wisconsin 46. And the handoff goes to Albert Young. Finds a seam on the right side of that line. And out near another 1st down at the 36. A missed tackle by Stelmacher allowed Young to pick up 10.
You know, this is the value of having Ed Hinkle back into your lineup. He's going to come in and what they call a crackback on Stelmacher. Watch him come in. He's getting him in his sights. And right there's the block. Perfect timing. Albert Young cuts off the block. That's an outstanding block by Ed Hinkle. This is why you need him. You see, Stelmacher's in as their 8th man in the box. Down goes Stelmacher. Off goes Young.
Iowa moving the ball. Both quarterbacks so far in the ball game, 7 of 10 passing. Sean Green in the ball game now is the deep back. Little play fake by Tate. He checked down, and it's incomplete, intended for Champ Davis.
And see, Drew got a little bit rattled right there. He had time, but he got a little antsy with his feet, and he started throwing off his back foot. What you'd like to see him, instead of buy some time with your feet, but shuffle instead of backpedaling. Get yourself set and throw it. A little heat's coming. That's okay. Take the hit.
Drew Tate originally committed to Texas A&M, coming out of high school, out of Baytown, Texas. Made his visit to Iowa, ironically, on the same day as Chris Leak, who decided to go to Florida. 2nd down and 10. Albert Young showing some nice shiftiness and elusiveness, but brought down to the 32-yard line. About 5 yards short of the 1st down is Albert Young. And Drew Tate, by the way, coached by his father in Baytown, Texas.
Mark, when you watch Iowa line up now, you can figure out what they're doing. When it's a sure run, Albert Young is in the backfield at 8 yards. And they do that to zone run, so he has the option to run from tackle to tackle. Now he's back there deep this time. I'd be surprised if the run be some type of play action.
3 receivers set. Run a little jailbreak screen to Ed Hinkle. Down to the 19-yard line and another Hawkeye first down. Rogers made the stop, but not before Hinkle picked up 14 yards. And over the years, Chris, not a lot of tape with you, buddy. I see that play that they like to use down near the red zone.
Yeah, they do. And you have to be able to have athletic linemen do it. And you see Ed Hinkle, the value of him understanding the offense, being there for about 20 years, it seems like. He's been there a long time, been a valuable contributor a long time. But you see the seniorship in him coming out because he dropped the ball earlier, yet the trust that Drew Tate has in him is like Drew's pacifier, it's his comfort level.
Pass incomplete at the 15-yard line. That one intended for Clinton Solomon, who drops it. One of the team's leading receivers, Levon Rowan, was there to help break it up. It'll be second down and 10. That Wisconsin secondary has been under siege for the last 5 weeks. And last week, actually, Brett Bell gave a my bad speech, had a mea culpa in the locker room after the loss against Penn State, after he'd given up a couple of long passes.
Well, you know, that's understandable, and that's standing up and being accountable. But the defensive line and linebackers got to get a pass rush before you put all the blame on yourself.
Tate looking for a receiver, flag down. How he got the pass there to Hinkle, I don't know, but it's ruled complete at the 14-yard line, but we'll see if it stands. The stop was made by Zalewski, the middle linebacker. That'll come back against the Hawkeyes. We talked about Brett Bielema's defense being under some heavy heat and being rather porous of late. Northwestern got them for 674, and that kind of started the trend.
Yeah, but you see the important thing right there. They had 3 wins in a row, and that's a credit to John Stocco and Brian Calhoun. And Brett understands that it was going to be a rough year. He's playing a lot of freshmen and sophomore, and it's been a growing process for him. The biggest problem that Wisconsin's defense had is communication. Communication is vital, so everybody's on the same page constantly, and you have to be able to adjust. And that's a problem that Wisconsin had throughout that little rough streak of giving up 500 pure.
Second and 20, the pass complete to Hinkle. Pushed out of bounds at the 17-yard line by Levon Rowan.
Well, there's that comforter again.
Yep.
Clinton Solomon just dropped that same route, so nice adjustment by Coach O'Keefe and Kirk Ferentz, the offensive coordinator. Well, you know, he was wide open. Let's put the comfort level out there at Hinkle and throw him the strike and see what he can do. You know, another thing Ed does real well, Mark, transitions to run right away. No false steps.
Pretty good athlete back in high school in Erie, PA. Track star as well. Third down and 9, offensive end coordinator Ken O'Keefe watching from the sidelines, pondering the next play. Tate with plenty of time. Batted at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be ruled complete. Nick Hayden got a piece of it.
Yeah, you get no argument from Grigsby.
Sets up a 4th down and 9 as Kyle Schlichter comes in the ball game to attempt a field goal. He's 13 of 16 on the year.
They need to move the ball back, though. See, the umpire got the ball at the wrong spot. You got to spot the ball back at the line of scrimmage if an incomplete pass.
Well, that's why it appeared as if they were trying to say it was a completion. They're marking it there.
It's being reviewed.
Now, I'm going to say it's no good. I haven't seen any replays, but because Grigsby, no argument from the guy that supposedly caught the ball. Nah, it's a good call by the umpire. Give him, see that? He's not clapping his hands and patting to the beat. What he's doing is telling that the ball's got tipped, and when a ball gets tipped in the air, all the receivers downfield, they're live game, man. You can bang them around. But you'll see right here that the ball definitely hits the ground. You don't see it as well from that angle, but from the end zone, you can see where the ball hits the ground. Then when Grigsby found out that it was an incomplete pass, you know, he wasn't up there debating the Supreme Court. He kind of put his head down and jogged off to the sidelines. Good call by the umpire. Would it be in the game?
I think they've got to figure out where this ball needs to be spotted now.
Okay, it just goes back to the line of scrimmage. It goes back to the 18.
Previous play was started from about the 17-yard line. So if this is ruled incomplete, then it should be back there at the 17.
The ruling on the field ends incomplete pass. Incomplete pass.
So now Schlichter comes in. This field goal attempt going to come from about 34, 33 yards out.
That's important to note. The umpire has to watch for holding. He's got to watch for movement, tip balls, and he's got to see if the ball's cut. That was a great job of executing the fundamentals, Mr. Umpire. Nice.
Iowa trying to get on the scoreboard. He has been money so far most of the year, and he cashes this one in right down the pipes. Kyle Schlicker knocks it through. He's 14 of 17 on the year, and we'll be back right after this. Wisconsin leading 10-3 with 11 minutes to go in the first half of play. Wisconsin still holding out hope for a share of the Big Ten Conference title, albeit a slim hope. Meanwhile, Drew Tate and Ed Hinkle side by side on the Iowa bench. Brandon Williams back deep. He already has a touchdown catch today. Wisconsin comes in at 5-2 in the conference, hoping for a couple of things to go their way, and still hoping for a New Year's Day bowl bid. Williams going to catch this one at the goal line. Brandon Williams stopped up right at the 20-yard line, and downstairs to a lady who's on the field for the first time ever. Wouldn't be such a big deal if she wasn't married to Barry Alvarez for 37 years, right?
I know. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe it when she said this was her first time. Now, of course, Cindy, you had said such a crazy week for you, and you actually planned a big surprise for Barry he doesn't even know about. Tell us what you did.
Well, we went back and invited everyone who had meant something and helped Barry in his start in football from high school through college, and he doesn't know they're here. We're up to about 170. We're having a big party, so I'm excited.
That's great. 37 years you've been with him. 35 he's been a coach. What is your best memory of all of that?
I have best memory would probably be the back-to-back Rose Bowls. Did something good happen?
Yeah,
then,
take it, Jones.
Yeah, something good.
Then,
Tell Cindy something good did happen. Brandon Williams made a great catch for her husband's team off the tip from Chad Greenway.
Yeah, Chad Greenway had a chance to make an impact play for his team. Actually dropped the interception, but what I'm seeing here is kids not giving up on plays. Take a look at the replay. Watch Chad. He had his hands. He tipped the ball up, and Brandon Williams coming back, giving great effort like Brandon Williams always gives.
And the referee shaken up in the process. And Cindy Alvarez, a very astute football fan. She sensed something was happening even while she was speaking with Aaron there.
Yeah, she better hope the Badgers play well, or the Badgers better hope they play well, or she'll go out and put a helmet on and go out and hit somebody.
Let's go back downstairs to Aaron and Cindy.
I'll tell you what, we should have mic'd Mrs. Alvarez up. She's been doing play-by-play while we've been waiting. Now tell me again your favorite memory throughout Coach Alvarez's tenure.
probably the funniest thing was when we were at Iowa and I was home and we were playing Purdue and we were losing and I got real nervous. So I went upstairs to clean and I mixed chemicals, ended up in the hospital. We come back, beat Purdue. He's so excited, wants to go and party, was not a happy camper.
Not at all. Now, what was your emotions when you heard Coach Alvarez was going to leave and just be the athletic director?
It took me a while to buy into it. I think he wanted it more, and when I saw how much it meant to him and what he wanted to do, I said I'd support him and got on board. Took a while.
All right.
After today, I want to come back. I like it down here.
She certainly does. We had a ref. Was he roughed up on the field up there, Jonesy?
Yeah, well, I think if nothing else, you know what? I think that the athletic director can get her a field pass to watch the future games. It's 2nd and 1 now. Booker Stanley in the ball game, and Booker has the first down at the 37-yard line. Let's go back downstairs to Aaron.
A lot of rumors swirling. Is this it for him? Will we see him on the sideline again?
I don't think so. I'll never say never, but we're very fortunate. Our 3 children are here, our 5 grandchildren, and we've got a great place to be and a great place to live.
We got to tell you, you did a great job decorating that head coach's office. What plans do you have for the AD office?
I've already been working, so we're excited.
Thank you so much. Congratulations to you as well.
Bye-bye.
Guys.
All right, Aaron. First down and 10. Stanley this time runs into the boundary and runs into trouble at the 30-yard line. Mitch King led the way. Edmund Miles joining him. And, there's a look at the head football coach's office, which next year will be occupied by Brett Bielema. We asked Coach Alvarez if he's going to keep the office and send Brett down the way. He said, "No, I'm going to move."
I would keep that office. You can get about $3,000 a month rent on that apartment up there. Hey, real quick note: the field judge was the official that got hurt. The field judge lines up in the middle of the field. Now, you can exploit the middle of the field. Now, if I'm playing a safety right there, I'll do a little bumping and grinding out there because the field judge won't be watching me.
Good point. 2nd and long. Stocko. And he's tackled at the 36-yard line. Got back near the original line of scrimmage. Chris, that's an interesting point that you bring up. So you talk about how exploiting the field in a defensive sense. What about on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, there's not much.
There a way?
Well,
No.
yeah, you can start pushing and shoving too on the other side of the ball. And again, I'm not advocating dirty play.
Okay.
But you know, you have 2 guys on the sidelines back there. Here's one and one on the Iowa sidelines that are trying to cover the whole back end by themselves, where normally there's 3 guys. So what I'm saying is, I got to take my shot that they're not watching me sometimes.
I have a feeling you've maybe done that before.
Not me, Mark. Come on.
The back judges slid into the vacated spot. 3rd down and 11 now for John Stocko. They set up the middle screen to Owen Daniels, who's got some real estate ahead of him. Daniels with the 1st down at Iowa's 48-yard line. Got a nice block from the diminutive wide receiver Brandon Williams to pick up 16 yards.
It's a nice job of setting up the screen. Owen Daniels has been kind of quiet, and they wanted to get him off early. And this is a way to do it. The tight end sneak screen. You see Brandon Williams throwing a block for his teammate downfield. He is a complete football player.
Meanwhile, the official being tended to on the sideline.
I misspoke. The field judge lines up on the sidelines. The back judge now comes to the sideline so they can try to manage a third or the whole field with 2 guys.
Here's Stanley. Stanley makes it down to the 44-yard line. Got about 3 brought down by Abdul Hodge. 7:46 to go here in the first half. Wisconsin leading Iowa 10-3. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman, Aaron Andrews down in the field. Barry Alvarez with a little over a half to go in his head coaching career at home. Wisconsin with a couple of games to go. They're already bowl eligible. They'll have a bye week next week and then travel out to Honolulu to take on Hawaii. And after that, wait on a bowl bid, find out where exactly they're going. 2nd down and 7. Mathematically, the Badgers with a shot at a share of the Big Ten title. Booker Stanley stopped up at the line of scrimmage. Abdul Hodge on the stop again. Time now for our Aflac trivia question, and it is Barry Alvarez, 7-3 in bowl games. Who's the only coach with a better bowl winning percentage? With a minimum of 10 bowl games. You can ruminate that for a while and come up the answer. I didn't get this one. I'm about 500
I'm
on
still
the
trying
season.
to get what roommate means. I thought it was somebody you lived with.
That would be roommate.
Oh, okay.
3rd down and 8. Brian Calhoun is in the ball game again. Little bunch formation to the right. Stocko on the move. Finds Calhoun and a nice tackle on the play. By number 49, Mike Follett.
Mike Follett does a good job of coming out of his pass rush and stalking Brian Calhoun and making a great open field tackle on a slippery fella like number 2.
And Wisconsin's punt team comes in. Iowa, by the way, folks, has defeated Wisconsin 3 consecutive times. Last year, winning 30-7 in Iowa City. Kenny DeBush standing at his own 45-yard line. Ron Johnson watches this low line drive punt travel just into the end zone, coming back out to the 20. 41 yards in all on this a cloudy, gray, overcast, and drizzly afternoon in Madison, Wisconsin. Hawkeyes and Badgers going toe-to-toe.
Half 100 plus 2 on KU in the first half. And look at this monumental upset. You just don't walk into Boone-Pickens Stadium and stroll out with a victory. Okie State against Texas Tech, they win it by 7.
Holding Texas Tech to 17 points.
One thing, you just don't walk into Reese Davis' studio and come away with a victory either. Reese is strong.
1st down and 10. They line up out of the eye. Brian Calhoun with the carry.
That's it.
They rocked his world. Chad Greenway with the green light on Calhoun.
Look what happens when you wrap your arms and you run to the man and not through the man. Bam! Watch this. Watch him run through him and not to him. Plays off the blocker nicely, comes up, brings his feet, 1 step and wrap, 2 steps and squeeze, and down goes Mr. Calhoun. Watch this. That's what I like to see, that helmet snap back. Nothing against Brian. Brian's a great player, but when I see a good tackle like that, there's so few and far between today, but I get excited.
Nothing wrong with that, partner. 2nd down and 15, a loss of 5 on the play. Stocco going to throw underneath to Calhoun and wrapped up again. This time, though, at the 21, he got about 6 before Mitch King, who has been everywhere on the field this afternoon. He's really emerged as one of the key guys up front for the Hawkeyes. He made the stop on the play.
He's playing well. And again, this is good things for Norm Parker and Kirk Ferentz if you're seeing your defense play like they are against a pretty high-powered offense, by the way, in Wisconsin for the future.
Yeah, the #1 offense right now in the Big Ten Conference. 3rd down and 9 for the Badgers from their own 21-yard line.
They got to get this guy in the game right there, Mark. Jonathan Orr.
16 seniors playing their final home game.
There he is. Give it to him.
Open underneath, but instead he goes to Williams for the 1st down at the 40-yard line. He was working on Antoine Allen, and Brandon Williams picks up 19.
That's a dealer's choice right there. He had Orr or Williams. What they did was they brought Orr from the front side against trips. Orr's going to come across here, and Williams is working the backside, so they're high-low in Iowa's defense, making them make a choice. The problem is, if you're Iowa, you didn't cover the high one or you didn't cover the low one, so Stocco, dealer's choice, went for the ace.
1st down and 10, and there's his ace right there, #1. Williams lining up to the top of your screen. The backs line up out of the eye. Calhoun is the deep back. He gets the carry. Brian Calhoun looking for the edge. Tackled just shy of the 45-yard line by Abdul Hodge and Javon Johnson. Let's take a look at our KFC storyline. Barry Alvarez came to Wisconsin from Nebraska some 16 years ago, and this is his final time on the sidelines at home as the head coach, and John Stocco as quarterback, putting up some pretty decent numbers, 183 yards and a touchdown so far. 2nd down and 6 from their own 45.
Coaching point and dealing with friends as competitors. We'll hit on it after the play.
They run a little counter to Calhoun as Presley is the lead blocker, but too many Iowa defenders out there. Edmund Miles, one of them, to make the initial hit.
I think it's important to note that Barry and Kirk Ferentz worked on the same staff at Iowa with head coach Hayden Fry. And I know from my experience that whenever I played friends of mine or college teammates of mine, I love them and I want to hug them, but man, do I want to beat them, and I want to beat them bad. And I guarantee you those are the feelings that Kirk Ferentz has. And Barry Alvarez would be disappointed if Kirk Ferentz didn't say, I want to come in and crush your dreams of walking out a winner, coach.
Yeah, it's ironic that it was Alvarez that picked up Ferentz at the airport when Ferentz was being interviewed for the job on Hayden Fry's staff. Here's Stocco with plenty of time and chased down from behind to the 45-yard line. Once again, the ubiquity of Mitch King paying off for the Hawkeyes, and it's 4th down coming up. And one more look at the aforementioned coaching tree under Hayden Fry. There's Alvarez to the bottom and to the right.
Wow.
I like the open collar look. It's kind of a John Travolta thing.
They all look like Saturday Night Fever wannabes, man.
Bielema
staying alive.
Brett Bielema next in line. He too with Iowa coaching roots. The push into punt from his 35-yard line into the wind, but it takes a very fortuitous bounce for the Badgers all the way down to the 7-yard line with 6:35 to go in the 3rd. And here's what Barry Alvarez had to say about working with Hayden Fry and the influence the former head coach had on Alvarez.
Hayden always gave you that impression of a loosey-goosey, flim-flam man. Yet he was a very strict disciplinarian. He was very militaristic. Everything was, done the way the Marines did it. He was tough. And someone asked me once, boy, I bet that was really interesting sitting around that coach's table with all those head coaches to be. And I said, let me tell you one thing. There was never any doubt sitting in that room who the boss was.
It seems to be a blueprint that Alvarez has used very successfully here in Wisconsin. A total of 116 wins, 67 of them coming right here at Camp Randall Stadium. And He'll hand off the reins of the head coaching duties to Brett Bielema, the present defensive coordinator. Just 35 years old, Bielema will become one of the youngest actually, head coach in Division I football.
And Brett's got a challenge ahead of him because when pressed, Barry Alvarez said that he expects Brett Bielema to grow the program from where it is today. And that's tough duty when your boss is right down the hall. The guy that handpicked you.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
Drew Tate looking at 2nd and 5. Time winding down on the play clock. Hands it off to Albert Young, who stopped up short of the line of scrimmage by Ware. And let's go downstairs for more on Bielema from Aaron.
Such a nice story, guys. Brett Bielema, he kept a yellow handwritten note from then Iowa coach Hayden Fry in 1998 that simply stated, "I am confident that you have what it takes to become an outstanding head coach in the future." Brett Bielema saying he has carried that note with him from day one. He was kind enough to let us see it. Guys, send it back up to you. I hope you're nice and dry up there, by the way, boys.
Oh, it's a great place to be, Aaron. Wonderfully. 3rd down and 6. See what Bielema's defense dials up, and there's a flag down on the play.
I'll tell you what they dialed up movement, and they got Iowa to jump. Anytime you can create elite.
Snap. False start. Number 73. Offense.
Anytime you can create the illusion, if you don't come or you still do come, you get the offensive lineman in a little bit of a hurry and they get jumpy. That's what they dialed up right there.
See what Bielema does this time.
The fans had a little say in that also.
Yeah.
Mark. They're getting into it. They're coming alive.
You know, one of the things that Bielema was told by his former head coach is have passion for your job and you never work another day. 3rd and 11. Tate up top for Solomon, incomplete. It's 4th down for Iowa. Good coverage down the sidelines by Levon Rowan.
Great coverage by Rowan.
And let's go downstairs back to Aaron.
Hey, Jonesy, not the news Brett Bielema and the Wisconsin defense wanted to hear. Matthew Shaughnessy actually being taken off in a cart in a couple of seconds. Injured that right knee. I did talk to Wisconsin's trainer. He told me they did some stability tests on the knee. It's not looking good. He obviously is out for today, guys.
All right, and his backup is Brandon Kelly. Out of the shadows of his own end zone. Enstenmacher with the punt. A nice one to Brandon Williams at the 44. Williams with a nice return into Iowa territory at the 46-yard line. 49 on the punt, 7 on the return. Shaughnessy done for the day. Who will pick up the slack when we come back? From State Street downtown all the way out to Middleton and the suburbs of outer Madison, Wisconsin, the signs and the gestures and thanks and gratitude continue to roll in for Barry Alvarez, ruling this fiefdom here in Madison for 16 years. He'll continue on as the athletic director after handing over the reins of the head football coach duties to Brett Bielema. He'll have some 23 programs under his auspices. That's going to be a face mask. I guess it wasn't called. Calhoun brought down at the 47-yard line. Brian Madison made the stop for Iowa.
You know, this is where the O's got to take advantage of where the X's for Wisconsin gave them good field position. You'll see right there, he almost had the face mask. I'll tell you, the defensive line for Iowa has definitely been the difference. And I don't think that Norm Parker didn't get anything off of Penn State last week either, buddy.
It's a copycat type of existence in the league, as Calhoun was limited to just 38 yards last week against the Nittany Lions. Fumble, and Stocco pounces on the loose ball back at the 48-yard line. So the Badger offense sputtering right now. They are impotent. They have not scored points in 2 quarters now. Well, looking extremely anemic since the early part of the game. Brian Calhoun with his struggles as well. 14 rushes for a total of just 15 yards. You can't say enough about that defense of Norm Parker. And Mitch King, one of those 4 guys up front, number 47 for Iowa, beginning to really establish themselves. A freshman. Officials discussing something down in the field.
something too, Mark, to look at now. You can run a bunch formation, and I still maintain.
There is no delay. Please reset the game clock to 4-1-5.
To attack the middle of the field. Remember, the field judge went down. The back judge moved to the sidelines, and there's nobody patrolling the middle of the field. That's a lot of field to cover for an official.
Well, tomorrow night ESPN has the latest chapter in one of the NFL's fiercest rivalries. Pittsburgh taking on Cleveland Sunday at 8:30 Eastern time. Coverage begins 7:30 Eastern with NFL Primetime presented by Miller Lite. For the second week in a row, Roethlisberger may or may not play, but they say now that he won't play. 3rd and 14, Stocco under duress. And he throws it in the direction of Jonathan Orr, incomplete. 4th down coming up for the Badgers.
Well, here's the play. The last time they ran that play, they had the high-low with Orr and Williams. Well, they try to come that same play the opposite side of the field. But this time, what broke down was the protection of Stocco, so he couldn't get the ball to Orr or Williams. And didn't take advantage of the Wisconsin defense, giving them field position.
Yeah, started off in good position. Ken DeBush at his own 35. This is his 6th punt, a low snap. Line drive punt into the wind. It's Johnson dancing around and making it up near the 20-yard line. One of the things about taking over a new program is changing the culture. That was a big challenge for Alvarez when he got here 16 years ago.
It took him a while. They weren't knocking the doors down right away because some brash young coach who thought he knew it all told him they better buy season tickets. But I knew the people in this state like their football. They really do. And if I gave them a good product, if we put a good product on the field, they'd come out and support us. And I just knew it would be a matter of time before we could do that.
Ball knocked down on that play by number 34, Kurt Ware. And Alvarez certainly won the support of the community here, and they have really built something special.
Yeah, together they've built it. Mark, that's a great job by Kurt Ware. Why? Because he recognized 3-step drop coming from the rush end, understanding that he's not going to get the Drew Tate. Instead, he plays the ball, gets in the throwing lane, hands up on 3-step drop. Well coached by Coach Palermo, the defensive line coach.
2nd down and 10. Tate with a play fake. With all week to throw. Incomplete down the sidelines, intended for Albert Young, and it'll be 3rd down now for the Hawkeyes. There's a flag down back at the 7-yard line, and it might give you a clue about the nature of the penalty with Tate coming off the turf.
34 of the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
A costly mistake by the Badger defense and Kurt Ware.
Well, it's a sophomore mistake. First, he makes a great play by getting his hands up. And you see right there, the ball's gone. You got to lay off. That's the rule. They're watching. They will protect the quarterbacks. I don't know if Coach Alvarez is pissed at or is upset at young Kurt Ware or upset at the official.
Now, if there were a movie about Barry Alvarez, he agrees that James Gandolfino should play the lead role of him. That was a good choice. 1st down and 10. There's Albert Young. And Young makes it out to the 38-yard line. Nick Hayden made the stop on the play. Time winding down here in the 3rd quarter. We're under the lights in Madison, Wisconsin. It's the last home game for head coach Barry Alvarez, as the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers won a total of 116 games. And Kirk Ferentz in his 7th year for Iowa.
You sense a momentum change. You see right there a calm, relaxed Kirk Ferentz, and you look on the other side and you see almost an uptight Coach Alvarez.
Ferentz's demeanor never seems to change. Here's Albert Young with a gaping hole. Albert Young. 1st down at the 35-yard line of Wisconsin. A great lead block by Tom Bush that time to spring loose the sophomore. A 26-yard gallop by Albert Young.
You're going to see, you're right, Mark, a great lead block by Dontez Sanders, who gives up 1 for 1. And what happens is the defensive lineman doesn't get to his gap responsibility, and the ball's to the 2nd level at the safeties. But when you can get a lead block, when a linebacker gives himself up 1 for 1, normally a guy will be off to the races just like Albert Young was.
1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. Young again, another seam up the middle. Albert Albert Young, another first down for Iowa at the Wisconsin 21-yard line. Boy, do you think the Badger faithful wish they had him in the fold?
Well, Stellmacher's the 8th man in the box. See him come up now. He's got to get over here for his responsibility. Watch, see, he's the 8th man in the box. He's on block. He's got to get to make the tackle, and he's late on his read. When you're late on the read, Albert Young will make you pay. He's a downhill guy now.
The 6th consecutive game that he's run for over 100 yards. Into the end zone for Solomon. And incomplete as we go back to the studio. Reese never drops it.
Zone trips, 10-7, Crimson Tide with the lead. SC's cruising at Cal, and Kansas putting an old-fashioned beatdown, or Texas on Kansas, 52-0.
Texas is going for that #1 vote.
Ooh. Yeah, impress a few people with that number. 2nd and 10 for the Hawkeyes from the 21. Grigsby in motion. They run the end around for Solomon. He's got a nice block out there. Solomon made it down to the 11-yard line. Tom Bush once again leading the way for Clinton Solomon with under 2 minutes to play now in the 3rd quarter. Iowa in the midst of a 10-0 scoring run.
Well, this is all set up by being able to pound the ball down Wisconsin's throat, so then you get creative. And right here, Clinton Solomon, Grigsby's going to come in and knock out Stellmacher. There's your fullback Bush getting the lead block. 54, you're supposed to block the red shirts, not tackle the white shirts.
Look at Grigsby.
Yeah, yeah, Grigsby brought a little something. He brought a little noise with that one. Then watch 54's man make the tackle for him. Come on now.
3rd down and 2. Play fake, the man wide open. Touchdown Hawkeyes. Majerus.
Again, Mark, it's set up by the ability to stuff it down your throat, where Wisconsin's been solid. All of a sudden, you hit them on the play action. There's a breakdown in coverage again for the 2nd time. And Majerus just sneaks to the corner of the end zone. Everybody's selling out for the run. Nobody's covering Majerus. You got guys peeking in the backfield. Johnny White's got to get that coverage. Johnny White's not playing his man. Johnny White's thinking he's going to make the tackle. Majerus runs by him. Tate throws the strike. Up and over.
Ryan Majerus wide open, and his 2nd touchdown catch this season and of his career. And for Drew Tate, the 15th touchdown pass of the year for him, as Iowa now storms back. They trail 10-0, and they now lead 17-10. You look at what they've been able to do on the ground. Chris, I think you hit it on the head when you said that Albert Young was really the catalyst for all of this. It's been a great week for Young. 202 yards last week against Northwestern. The only problem he had this week, he got a ticket for not doing up his seatbelt on campus in his car. How can they do that to him?
Rules are rules. No, what would happen, I was starting to establish the line of scrimmage. Anytime you can get Albert Young hitting it up the middle, then Iowa is such a big play action team. Then they hit him with reverses, they hit him with play action, they're doing what they want, and they got Wisconsin's defense reeling.
And Drew Tate at quarterback has not been the picture of frustration that we've seen in the past. He has been extremely poised and showed a lot of moxie in the pocket today, and on those rollouts.
Yeah, Mark, he knows right where to go with the football. You can see that he's a smart kid. I mean, he's got the offense. He grasped it, has the concept, and there was no hesitation on delivering the ball right away to Majerus, who was running open on the corner route.
Scoring drive, 7 plays, 80 yards, using a little over 2.5 minutes on the clock. Iowa Hawkeyes poised and laying weight in the high grass, trying to spoil the send-off for Barry Alvarez. Brandon Williams out across the 20-yard line, stopped up at the 21 as we approach 1 minute to play here in the 3rd quarter. It has been a complete turnaround, a stark contrast by quarter. Iowa rolled up 144 in the period so far to just 34 for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Well, that's where coaches make their money. They go into halftime. What are they doing? Well, here's what we'll do to adjust. Now, Barry and his boys got to make their money because they got to adjust to the adjustments that Iowa made at halftime.
1st down and 10 for the Wisconsin Badgers at their own 21. Stocco finds Brandon Williams complete, gained about 2 out to the 23-yard line. Pushed out of bounds by Chad Greenway. John Stocco has performed heroics here already this year. He's really matured. We talked about it earlier in the show. The play that really turned his season around, most people say, and people players on the team say that against Michigan, the quarterback draw to run it in the end zone to virtually win the game made him a different quarterback. Looking at 2nd down and 8.
And sure, he got confidence. He goes to Northwestern, Mark, and that's the first time that I've watched John Stocco play that he was letting it rip. He's just throwing the football, having fun with it.
Here's Calhoun. Brian Calhoun has been bottled up for most of the night. Stopped up at the 26-yard line by Hodge and Greenway.
Yeah, we talked about coming in that Brian Calhoun is a tough guy to stop. Well, how do you stop one guy? Guess what? You get 2 pretty good guys on there to help him make the play. And both Greenway and Hodge have both been very, very active today.
Calhoun's longest run of the day was just 8 yards, and that, ironically, was on the first play of the game. Norm Parker starting to really get a slight edge in this chess match. The defensive coordinator. 3rd and 5 now for Wisconsin. And a bounce pass incomplete from Stocco intended for Calhoun. And it's 4th down. He almost appeared to pull the string on that one. 2 consecutive 3-and-outs now for the Badger offense.
There's a chance to put what Paul Chryst talked about yesterday, their words into actions. He said that this team rarely gets rattled, so when they're going bad, they're usually able to respond. Right now, they're going bad, and the question will remain, will they respond?
The #1 offense in the Big Ten with just 10 points on the board right now. They average about 37 per. The Bush with a low end-over-end punt that will give Iowa a good starting field position on this drive with 9 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. The ESPN College Football Encyclopedia, the biggest, baddest reference guide ever published on the sport. It's got profiles, records, stat leaders from all 119 D1 programs, as well as box scores from all the bowl games ever played. Available now wherever books are sold. And right now, chapter reading Iowa Hawkeyes looks pretty good against Wisconsin. And this is the 81st edition of this rivalry, 17-10 for the Hawkeyes. Ed Hinkle in motion. Albert Young shows that he can do it between the tackles as well, Chris Spielman.
That's why I get a because he's just running his own guys over. He just runs people over.
Number 21 showing some skills, exhorting the fans that made the trip. How will it end at home for Barry Alvarez? Back after this. One of the traditions here in Madison, Wisconsin, jump around. College football presented by Nokia as we get ready for the start of the 4th period and the final 15 minutes at home for Barry Alvarez as the head coach. But the Hawkeyes with the ball right now, 1st and 10 from their own 46, actually 2nd and 4. Chandler in motion for the Hawkeyes. Nice. Albert Young got rocked in the hole by Mark Zalewski. Take a look at our Napa game track. 16 years on the sidelines, coming to a close here at Camp Randall Stadium. The house that Barry built, packed once again. That's been the norm. Brandon Williams with the game's first touchdown, but then Iowa storming back with 17 unanswered points. Somewhat appropriate that it happened in a bit of a rainstorm here. 3rd down and 3. Got to get just past midfield for the 1st down. Drew Tate fires high for Grigsby, incomplete.
Yeah, Drew's upset with himself because he had Grigsby open, and Drew normally can make that throw. In fact, there's not a lot of quarterbacks in the country being right-handed that can run to their left and be as accurate as Drew throwing across his body. He just let that one sail on him a little.
He's the most prolific passer in high school football in the state of Texas, but he gives way now to Brandon Williams. Back to return this punt, standing at his own 13. Randy Fiestenmacher, it's his 5th punt of the day, and it's not his best one. In fact, it's his worst one of the day. It travels just down to the 34-yard line. And the Badgers catch a bit of a break. John Stocco sure could use one. He has grown leaps and bounds throughout the course of this season. This is his 2nd year as the starting quarterback. He's made tremendous strides. From Richfield, Minnesota, the former high school teammate of Larry Fitzgerald, now with the Phoenix Cardinals.
What's helped him make strides, Mark, is the running game of Brian Calhoun, but that running game is non-existent, and this is where he's got to really shine. The front 4 of Iowa's the player of the game.
They've really turned the beat around for the Hawkeyes. 1st and 10. Stocco pursued from the backside and brought down to the 33. But we can't say enough about the strength and the resolve of Mitch King today, Chris. He's really emerged as a beacon up front for them.
Stand up and be counted. Mitch has. He is the king. You'll see Mitch King from his running a little X game right there. Again, they're working on young Marcus Coleman, who was late coming off of the stunt. When you have that kind of movement, you got to let one man go and come pick him up. And Mitch King showed me right there some closing speed with a desire to get to the quarterback.
5 tackles, 2.5 of them for loss today. 2nd and 12 for Wisconsin. Jonathan Orr in motion. Stocco looking his way, but brought down and sacked back at the 29 by Kenny Webema.
But what's happening is that it's taken a long time to develop. The play's taking a long time to develop.
Antoine Allen and Javon Johnson doing a nice job back there in the secondary, Chris.
Webema's going to work right here on the outside. He keeps working, keeps working. It's just a nice little bull rush, and he pushes him, comes off to the inside, squeezing the pocket on Joe Thomas.
6th sack of the season for Webema. Sets up a 3rd down and long now. 16 to go for the Badgers. Average over 37 a game. Today just 10. They look for the screen, and Calhoun with nowhere to go once he caught it on the middle screen. Brought down at the 33 by Follett, and it's 3 and out for the 3rd consecutive time for Wisconsin. And the reserve laid back Norm Parker. Don't let the looks fool you, though. There's a genius there on the sideline.
Yeah, Norm is a good football coach, and again, the philosophy that he has is keeping it simple. In fact, we talked to Mike Dunlap, the offensive coordinator at Northwestern last week. He said, all you got to do is ask Norm for the game plan. He'll give it to you.
Push into punt, a high snap. Back at the 15-yard line. Allen still on his feet, and a nice return all the way out to the 39. Javon Johnson. Barry Alvarez trying to salvage a victory to snap the losing streak against his former working mate, Kirk Ferentz. Mitch King, along with his defensive front line mates, talking a little strategy during the break. Abdul Hodge was giving an impassioned speech on the sidelines to his teammates. The Iowa defense, a big part of the story here, as Drew Tate pulls the trigger, and it's almost picked off by Stellmacher. That would have been his 2nd of the day. It was intended for Scott Chandler. 2nd down and 10 coming up for Drew Tate. And Drew Tate really wears his emotions on his sleeve.
And that's a good thing. As long as he can control it. He's upset with himself because he threw that one just a little behind him.
Hey, anybody that's willing to take on Matt Roth, the former defensive lineman, in practice, go toe-to-toe and throw blows with him like he did last year, wins my respect. I don't know how smart that is now.
No, it's not smart. He must. I hope he just hit him with his left hand, because you better protect that right hand.
2nd down and 10. On the screen, Albert Young got a nice kick-out block and has plenty of room downfield. Albert Young getting his giddy up on a 1st down at the 26-yard line. Mike Elgin with a nice block to get it started. And Iowa poised to spoil this party.
Right now, Coach Ferentz and Coach O'Keefe are doing what they want to do. And when you have Drew Tate sell it like he sold it, throws a screen pass to Albert Young. Wisconsin's playing man-to-man defense, so their defensive backs all have their back turned. In fact, it took Watkins from behind to run him down.
Kenny O'Keefe with a nice call that time to pick up 35 yards. Damian Sims now in the ballgame, giving Albert Young a breather. 1st and 10, Iowa. Chandler caught it in the flat and is knocked out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Let's go downstairs to Aaron.
Mark, you mentioned the emotions on the Iowa side of things. How about the emotions on Wisconsin, particularly their offensive line? Guys yelling at each other, tempers flaring, very frustrated, saying you're missing your blocks, you're missing your assignments. Let's get it together for Coach. Mark?
Yeah, Barry Alvarez has talked to his team during the last couple of weeks about finishing the season strong. They don't want a rerun of the movie last year where they started off 9-0 and then dropped their last 3 games. Today, just 30 yards on the ground.
Again, a direct indication of how well Green and Hawkeyes are playing is how well the defensive line's playing. They've dominated the line of scrimmage.
Sims on 2nd and 2, trying to bounce it to the outside and corralled, necktied at the 17. And let's go back to the studio for Miami.
17-10, and Reggie Ball not always looking for Calvin Johnson. There is a wide open Demarius Bilbo. Virginia's answer with a field goal. That's a 3-point game early in the fourth.
All right, Reese, and back here with 8:51 to go in the fourth quarter. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman and Aaron Andrews down in the field. Talked about the big turnaround offensively for Wisconsin. 136 yards total offense in the first quarter and just 78 yards since. And John Stocco, we said at the top of the show, had been a little bit underrated, you'd think, going into this last game. And so far hasn't really shown what he's done that's really symbolic of what he's done for most of the season in this game.
The key's been that Iowa has not had to bring extra guys. They're getting pressure with 4 men. When you get pressure with 4 men, it creates problems for the quarterback because you have 7 covering.
See what he does here on 2nd and 15. Stocco on the bootleg, fires incomplete, short for Owen Daniels. Daniels, one of 16 Wisconsin seniors playing their final home game, and they would hate for it to end inauspiciously here.
Yeah, right now, this is where John Stocco's got to go back in his memory and recall his success that he's had this year. Right now, he's not letting it rip. He's kind of aiming it.
That fourth quarter total, somewhat troubling. Total of just 214 on the game so far.
Got number 9 out there, or lurking. He's about due for a big play.
3rd down and 15. Stocco steps up and sacked again at the 7-yard line. This time it was Awebama. And Wisconsin with its 4th consecutive 3 and out.
Mark, they're coming back to the same play they had success on. They're 1 for 3 on it. You're going to see Jonathan Orr come in motion right here. He's going to come across here. Brandon Williams going to go deep. They high-low it, but guess what? I was well coached. They take away the high, they take away the low. He has nowhere to go with the football, and if you hold it, you're going to lose it.
Awebama with yet another sack. 4th down and 21, and DeBush going to punt from the shadows of his own goalposts. Official's going to whistle it dead. There's a flag down on the near side of the field.
It's coming apart. It's coming apart at the seams.
False start, number 3, offense.
Has to be very, very disappointing for Alvarez, who talked to his team, made a concerted effort to talk to them about finishing strong this year, and they altered their routine to help facilitate that. They cut down on a lot of their lower body weightlifting and eased back on some parts of practice to make sure that they had their legs coming down the stretch run here. DeBush puts his leg into this punt. Johnson watches it bounce and go out of bounds near midfield at the 49-yard line of the Hawkeyes. Well, tonight, latest edition of the SEC's oldest rivalry. Auburn takes on Georgia in a game that could have an impact on both divisions in the SEC. Number 5, Georgia, and actually number 15, Auburn, and number 9, Georgia, available in high definition on ESPN HD.
DJ Shockley making his return. You see the Norm Parker's look he had, what is it, the cat that ate the rat and he's trying to hide it or something? Or,
the Cheshire cat?
Yeah, he did something and he's trying to hide it.
Yeah, he ate the mouse.
He looks like he's got it figured out.
Ate the mouse, yeah. 1st and 10. Albert Young with a nice move to get away from one tackler out to the 49-yard line. Zalewski finally made the stop. The clock now quickly becoming the enemy of the Badgers. 7.5 to go.
2-possession ball game, and what Iowa has it, if they do not turn the ball over, at least they're going to have, at the very minimum, make Wisconsin go a lot of way, like 80 yards at the minimum. If you go 80 yards, that's going to chew up clock.
With a win, Iowa would become bowl eligible. Their 6th win of the season against 4 defeats. And they would move over 500 at 4-3 in conference play. And out the door would go Wisconsin's hopes of getting at least a share of the Big Ten Conference title. The pass complete to Chandler, just shy of the 45-yard line.
Chandler,
under 7 minutes to play. Well, you hear the Rocky theme in the background playing. It's going to take a magical Rocky-like comeback for Wisconsin to do something here. Clock running with 6:36 to go.
This is a when you have a guy like Albert Young, this is also a rundown because of the clock situation and the success that you've had running the ball in the second half.
It's been a year of miracles for Wisconsin. You remember how the Minnesota game ended. They would need to duplicate that here. Tate. Solomon had his mouthpiece knocked out. Something came flying out of that collision. Alan Langford made the stop on the play, but it's a first down for Iowa nonetheless.
Now Langford comes in and brings the noise. Anytime you can hear noise, piece of his chin strap breaks. But see how he leads with his head. See how he wraps him up and runs. Outstanding. He gave him a little too much room, but I'll tell you what, he eliminated the rack yards by racking him.
They wrapped him up right away, and something else came flying out there.
Lots of things fly out. A lot of times it's your chiclets. I've seen chiclets out there. I lost a chiclet.
First down and 10. The backs line up out of the eye Hinkler motion. Albert Young dashing that defensive front down to the 32-yard line, methodically, inexorably, rhythmically. Iowa doing work on Wisconsin. Ranked number 19 coming in here at Camp Randall Stadium, Madison, Wisconsin. It's the final home game as Wisconsin's head coach for Barry Alvarez. And it's looking very impropitious right now. A win for Iowa, they would be off to a bowl game. And Kirk Ferentz himself has done a wonderful turnaround job at Iowa. His first year 1-10, followed by 3-9, 7-5, 11-2, 10-3, and last year 10-2. 2nd and 3. Albert Young on the handoff down to the 30-yard line and close to another Hawkeye first down, and you can almost hear them in Iowa City on South Dubuque Street making a little bit of noise, talking about going bowling now.
This is where Iowa last week had a game in control versus Northwestern. They were down 27-14, and they relaxed a little bit. Now you got a chance to drive the stake, put it through the heart. There's a big heart. There's 80,000 people who wear their heart around here.
This game for the Heartland Trophy. Saw the trophy on the sidelines, and there for the last year, Iowa winning 30-7 last year in Iowa City on 1st and 10. Sims coming into the ball game, and Sims is brought down after a gain of about 2. Rogers makes the stop.
One way they could bury the stake, and I don't know if he'll take a shot, is that Wisconsin is completely committing to the run. They're playing man-to-man. They've had success with play-action pass. If they want to play-action pass now, they'd have a pretty good shot at putting it in the end zone. That's just something to keep your eye on.
That picture symbolizes the type of day that it's been for Wisconsin.
It's not over, pal. Rallied. Put the rally wig on.
That wasn't it. 2nd and 10. Sims is the deep back out of the eye. And it's Damian Sims time. Sims stopped up at the 29-yard line by Rogers. Sims, interestingly enough, the cousin of C.J. Jones, former Iowa wide receiver, had a lot of success and a good career for the Hawkeyes.
When you're thinking about Wisconsin now, you might want to start using your timeouts. You have 2 left. Remember, they had to burn one earlier.
If there was ever a time where they need a miracle and would get one, this would be it. Talked about the finish earlier this year at Minnesota. They were down. They were dead in the water, and got a nice blocked punt effort from Jonathan Casillas. They pounced on the loose ball to defeat the Gophers. Play clock winding down. They're not going to get this off. They're forced to call a timeout. Drew Tate and Kenny O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator, trying to get on the same frequency. And we're going to get on our frequency, call a timeout. Be back in Madison, Wisconsin right after this. .317 to go under the lights here at Camp Randall Stadium. Winding down on the tenure of Barry Alvarez, his last appearance as head coach here at home. And Kirk Ferentz's team with the lead. Sims on the handoff, bursting up the middle for another first down at the 19-yard line. Iowa trying to seal the deal, something they were unable to do last week against Northwestern, and it proved costly. And Barry Alvarez feeling the frustration of that play.
It's tough because the whole defense was geared to stopping the line, running play right up the middle, and you have people just blowing you off the ball when the game's on the line. I can understand the frustration of that wonderful coach, Barry Alvarez.
First down and 10. Sims on the handoff. Inside the 10 and another first down at the 8-yard line. It'll be first down and goal now for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And the life seems to have come out of that defense for Wisconsin.
You know, that clock should be running. He was tackled in bounds.
Yep. And it starts. That defense looks very dispirited right now. Very disconcerted as well. 2.5 minutes to play.
You see 9 guys with the hands on the hips.
Brett Bielema will take over next year as the head coach. First and goal for the Hawkeyes. Sims again. Down to the 3-yard line. It'll be second down and goal. The Iowa Hawkeyes playing the role of the insolent and obtrusive host visitors here against the host Wisconsin Badgers. This drive eating up a lot of valuable time in the minds of Wisconsin fans. Under 2 minutes to play now. Kirk Ferentz's team on the verge of improving to 6-4 on the season and 4-3 in conference play. And you know, they really had a couple of near misses. They could have their season looking a lot different if not for the last-second loss against Michigan and last week against Northwestern.
2 games that they were solidly beat was Iowa State.
To the fullback who tries to go over the top, Tom Bush.
Hey, Tom Bush is a bulldozer blocker.
Trying to vert.
Oh, just stick your head in there, Tom. Don't do the vert, Tommy.
He didn't have wings for takeoff. He didn't have clearance for takeoff on that play. Timeout called on the field by Wisconsin. Going to stay right here with 1:28 to go.
I got to bring up the point, Mark, because I've been in a situation and I can almost make an argument for it that there was so much on this with Coach Alvarez's last home game, the senior day, and the way they came out like gangbusters and just, you know, drove the ball right down the field. It was a 10-0 lead, but then they went flat, and that's not unusual. That is not unusual for that to happen.
See that initial surge of emotion with the senior day and Alvarez's last game, and yeah, it really did turn around, and in part because of our Nexium player of the game with a regal performance. Good to be king for a day. Mitch King, the 6'3" freshman, is today's Nexium player of the game. 6 tackles and a couple of sacks and a real menace up front to that Wisconsin offensive line. And he was a frequent visitor to quarterback John Stocco, too, in his grill, up in his kitchen all game. Third down and goal for Drew Tate from the Wisconsin 2-yard line. I'll tell you, if Kirk Ferentz was any more laid back, he wouldn't be able to see over his hips. Albert Young back in the ball game, and he's stopped up as a fumble, and Wisconsin says they have it. Still no official see, and now they have it. Wisconsin still with life and 1:21 to go. Nick Hayden recovering the loose ball. So perhaps a potential last gasp effort for John Stocco and the Wisconsin offense.
Yeah, 1 timeout left. Clock stops on first down. See, Albert Young, if you're in trouble, you want to double up. It looked to me like it was a bad exchange.
He never had it.
No, it seems to me the ball might have slipped out of Drew Tate's hand. Oh, he should have had it. Drew put it right in the chest. And Albert Young didn't keep the target open long enough. He closed his target area down.
98 yards away for Wisconsin. And a quick score here with 1:21 to go. 1 timeout remaining. Stocco out of the end zone. Took way too long. And it's incomplete. Stops the clock with 1:15. Brandon White was the closest receiver to the ball.
And nobody's attacking the middle of the field. And I realize that time is ticking, but you do have 1 timeout in college football. The clock does stop on first downs. If you attack the middle of the field, you got a shot. Remember, there's no referee back there. Run a pick or something. Oh, I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Those are illegal, but hey.
Oh, yeah.
2nd and 10. Stocko gets rid of it quickly this time to Brian Calhoun. They split out in the slot. He's out about 2 yards short of the first down at the 11. Wisconsin with a couple of timeouts remaining. Don't forget College Game Day scoreboard presented by Acura coming up next right after the game. A busy Saturday in college football. Big scores and highlights to come with Reese and the crew in the studio. 3rd down and 2. Stocko. Williams over the middle. The senior gets the first down at the 25-yard line. They stop the clock with 47 seconds to go as they move the chains. Brendan Williams, one of 16 seniors playing their final home game here.
Yeah, as soon as that referee puts his hands down, you want to be able to get the ball should be snapped. The ball should be snapped.
Williams going over 100 yards for the game for the 5th consecutive time. Stocko for Orr. Incomplete at the 37-yard line. Jovan Johnson breaking up the pass.
There's something there I didn't like, though. If I'm Iowa, I would think I'd have 2 guys back there playing too deep. And Jonathan Orr was one-on-one. That was a great job of coverage by Jovan Johnson, because Jonathan Orr is 6'3". You should have a safety back there to help him up. But they finally twice gone to the middle of the field and have had success.
Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, has a wonderful blueprint. It seems to have worked here against Wisconsin today. On 2nd and 10. Stocko backside pressure. Calhoun brought down immediately at the 30-yard line. Great pursuit by Chad Greenway. Shows you Greenway can run pretty well in space, can't he?
At his size, Mark, one of the things he does is close pretty quickly in his pass coverage.
And Wisconsin out of timeouts now, and there's the look at the Heartland Trophy that they're playing for today. Trying to figure out whether that was is it a boar?
It's a bull.
It's a bull? A pig?
There's Ferentz grabbing the bull by the horns.
Literally. 3rd down and 4 coming up. Barry Alvarez spoke to us yesterday about his legacy. And the most significant part of that legacy might not be just the success of the football program, but the football program acting as a very significant catalyst for the resurgence of the entire athletic department at Wisconsin. With the success of the football program came the facilities.
Well, and along with facility, that means there's money coming in, and you do get money by having success, and it's no secret that a lot of Division I schools with strong football programs support 99% of the other programs that involve athletics at universities.
3rd down and 4 now for Wisconsin. John Stocko under heat. Almost sacked and throws it away. It'll be 4th and 4 coming up now for the Badgers. Mitch King once again in Stocko's kitchen along with Mike Follett.
That was a race. They're racing. And I'm telling you, Mark, that Norm Parker we did the game last week. He was still talking to me about last week's game. He really wanted to come in here and get this. His kids, he should be proud of his kids, especially the young front 4. They've really played an excellent game as a unit.
4th and 4. Wisconsin has to have it happen on this down. Maintain any hope of success. Williams with the first down, steps out of bounds near midfield at the 49-yard line with 16 seconds to go. He caught it in front of Jovan Johnson.
16 seconds, you really got to start taking shots at the end zone. You finally have the field position to take your shots at the end zone. You got to score within 2 plays with any hope at all.
You need to put it up there now. Because you still, theoretically, after the touchdown, if that happens, is the onside kick and a potential recovery and a potential field goal. Like I said, 16 seconds, you got to do it now. Williams with a career high 132 yards. But will it all be for naught?
That's a catch.
He adds to the total with that reception at the 29-yard line of Iowa. 10 seconds to go. Brandon White actually making that catch. 10 seconds to go.
And Drew Tate has had an excellent game, and just a lot of times you learn lessons from bad things. That bad experience that he had at Ohio State, he's really grown mentally and as a leader. The games that we've watched him do. An outstanding performance, not getting rattled, staying focused and in touch.
1st and 10 for Wisconsin at the 29 of Iowa. Into the end zone and incomplete. So with 5 seconds to go, John Stocco looking to the sidelines for aid.
You know, I know the coach is upset, but I'm going to tell you, Mark, that he can go down as having a huge significance, not only on the coaching profession, but the Big Ten as a whole. He's been a major contributor to the growth of the Big Ten.
This will come to an ignominious and unceremonious end for Barry Alvarez, and this is last home game as Wisconsin's head coach. But in the big picture, his accomplishments really usurp anything that may have happened negatively here in the result today. Into the end zone, tipped up and incomplete with no time remaining. That's it, as Iowa rolls into Madison, Wisconsin, and rides out of Dodge with a win. They've won 4 straight now against the Badgers. But the heartfelt thanks of the fans here in Madison remain resolute. Barry Alvarez's team falls to 8-3 on the season. Downstairs now to Erin Andrews.
Coach, thanks for joining us. First, about the game, what was Iowa's defense able to do to shut your offense out in the second half?
You know what? We really couldn't do much second half. We couldn't block, couldn't pass protect. We really couldn't get anything going offensively. I don't know what they did different.
All right, I know this is not the way you wanted to leave Camp Randall. You told us yesterday you've had such a tunnel vision. You haven't been able to think about it. You walk away for the last time as the head coach. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's just starting to sink in right now. It's been a great ride for 16 years. I've enjoyed every minute of it. Really would have liked to have won this last one for these seniors, but it's been a good ride and a lot of fun. Fans have been awesome.
You had 80,000 fans chanting Barry, Barry. Anything you'd like to say to those fans that have supported you?
Well, they've been the best. I hope they've enjoyed the 16 years I've been here as much as I have. They've been awesome.
Barry, thank you. Congratulations.
It's the house that Barry built, Camp Randall Stadium, remaining a rampart of football respect and consistency, a bastion of performance in the Midwest and across the nation. 20-10 the final for Erin Andrews, Chris Spielman, and our entire crew. I'm Mark Jones. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Goodbye from Madison. College Game Day Scoreboard presented by Acura is next.
College Game Day Scoreboard is presented by Acura.
Our college football Saturday getting set to roll on in prime time. Between the hedges, the dog walk. Georgia getting set to take on their old rival Auburn in Athens. That's coming up 7:45 Eastern time. But until then, we're with you here on the College Game Day Scoreboard presented by Acura. I'm Reese Davis alongside Lou Holtz and Mark May. And Lou, I know that Barry Alvarez, as Erin Andrews mentions, that's not the way you want to go out. But you know what? For a place that's as important to Barry as Wisconsin was, what is that like? It's very similar to what Notre Dame meant to you.
Well, you spend 10, 15 years at a school, and it just is very, very emotional. But the main thing you want to do, you want to look at it and say, is the place better when I left it than when I found it? Barry Alvarez went to the University of Wisconsin, had very little respect. He did a tremendous job. I know it's disappointing to lose the last game, but I want to tell you, that's hard as a coach to get them focused. They got tears in their eyes. They can't see who to block and tackle. So I know it was disappointing, but it was a great run.
And not only that, he's leaving the cupboard fairly full for Brett Bielema. They're returning 16 starters next year, and Brian Calhoun's a great running back to have to come back next year. But for Barry Alvarez, to me, you always want to go out a winner in a situation like that, and he did. This is his last year coaching. He's going to go out a winner. But here's another thing. He's taken his team to a bowl game, and not only that, their last regular season game, it's in Hawaii, so he knows how to go out in style.
You know, Mayday can always find the bright side, and it usually involves palm trees and beaches and waves and relaxation.
Golf, yeah.
You know, the one thing that Alvarez did want to do is to stay in contention for at least a share of the Big Ten title, something that is going to go down to the final weeks of the regular season.